Hello there gamers, and welcome back to another video of me talking about video games. Now, before this video begins, I would just like to say I know I haven't been uploading a lot recently, but that is because I've been ill, and I tried to record this video before, but I had to keep stopping and coughing loads, so that wasn't so fun. But now, I'm better, and I can probably record videos more frequently. Now, the topic of desert island gaming has been around for quite a while, but I'd argue the topic was fully popularized by this video by Scott the Woz, which I do recommend checking out because it's a pretty cool video. But what is desert island gaming, Louis? Well, I will tell you. Desert island gaming is this concept where if you could only take 5 games onto a desert island to play forever, what would those games be? And this list gets a lot more complicated than you may expect. You see, you gotta take into consideration, well, what about online? What about subscriptions? What about digital games? There's a lot of different factors that you gotta think about here, which is why, similar to Scott's video, I'm gonna be having different categories. Games I would take if there was absolutely no online, games I would take if there was somehow online, the different consoles I would take, and one list of games if there were absolutely no rules on what games I could take. However, there is one rule, and that is that I actually have to own the games in order for them to be on this list. So without further ado, what games would I take if there was absolutely no online on this desert island, which is probably the most likely. Now, the most obvious thing to go for is a game with a lot of hours in it, but I don't typically play those types of games. I mean, of course it's nice when a game lasts a long time, but a lot of the time, games with absolutely ridiculous playtimes can be a little off-putting. But a decently long game, which for me would definitely have to be on this list, is Persona 5. Now, I do like a good RPG from time to time, but I wouldn't say I'm as big as a fan as some people are, but Persona 5 is easily my top RPG. It lasts around 95 hours, which is probably long enough for me to get a solid amount of time on it. However, there's probably only a certain amount of times that I can play this, but whatever, it's fun. Now, another absolute no-brainer that just kind of had to be on this list was Minecraft. Now, Minecraft, like many others, is one of the first games I ever played, and is probably the game I put the most hours into. I'd be damn surprised if my hours in this game isn't in the 5,000s. It kind of had to be on this list because of all the things you can do in it, but to be honest, I would probably fall off it quite a lot before joining back on. I tend to go on 3-month or so phases where I play this game for hours and hours a day, and then just not play it for a couple of months, but then immediately pick it back up again. I don't know. But Minecraft's just kind of an obvious one to put on this list. Now, obviously, this list had to have a Mario game on here, and I would say that the Mario game which personally could last me the longest is easily Super Mario Odyssey. I go back and forth on whether this is my favourite Mario game or not. Sometimes I think it's Mario Galaxy 2, sometimes I think it's Mario Odyssey, sometimes I think it's bloody Mario Teaches Typing. I'm just kidding about the last one, but you get it. But I can say with full confidence that Super Mario Odyssey is the Mario game that could last me the longest. There is so much to do here. I could just keep replaying the story if I really wanted to, but I could try and 100% it, which, oh my god, this game is so hard to 100%, like you gotta get all the costumes, you gotta you gotta maximize your moon counter with coins, you gotta collect every single available moon, and if you eventually do all of that, then you get a hat on top of the castle, and then it's like, why did I just spend 2,500 hours doing that? But it was worth it anyway. What I'm trying to say is this game lasts a long time. Now, I knew that I had to put a first-person shooter on this list. Okay, I'm just realizing this now while editing, but I don't know why I said first-person shooter, because really any shooter will do. It didn't have to be third-person or first-person. Yeah, whatever. Specifically a single-player first-person shooter, and my immediate choice was Resident Evil 4. But upon further inspection, I don't think I could play Resident Evil 4 for the rest of my life. It's really good, no doubt, but I'm not sure how replayable it is, which is why for my first-person shooter on this list, I'm choosing Doom 2016. Now, I've fully played through the main campaign of Doom twice, once on I'm Too Young to Die difficulty, and another on Hurt Me Plenty, and I'm currently working on Nightmare mode, although I am yet to get past it. But Doom 16 is just so replayable and so fun that I could honestly see myself playing it for the rest of my life. Blasting through hordes of enemies in this game just never gets old. So yeah, Doom 16 on the no online list, only one more to go. Now, after playing Doom, what better palate cleanser than Animal Crossing? Now, I've fully immersed myself in 2 Animal Crossing games. I've technically played 3, Animal Crossing Wild World, New Leaf, and New Horizons. I didn't fully get into Wild World though as much as some people did, but however I did play a lot of New Leaf and New Horizons. I very almost picked a New Leaf because I think I enjoyed that more at the time, but I gotta say there's just so much more to do in New Horizons. New Leaf I kind of look back with nostalgia, but New Horizons, I would say, is definitely the better game. Now, I did fall off of Animal Crossing a couple of months in, but I played it for around 220 hours, so yeah, I could definitely get some time out of this one. Alright, now that was the no online list, but theoretically, what if I could connect to the internet on this deserted island? That's right, baby, the online list. Let's go. Now, I've been getting pretty big into rhythm games lately. I like playing DDR in the arcade even though I'm super bad at it. I always used to really like playing Guitar Hero. And I did play quite a lot of Friday Night Funkin', but kind of stopped about a month back. But the main rhythm game I play now is definitely Osu. Osu is basically a rhythm game where you click and drag circles to the beat of a song, but it's really only enjoyed with online because while you do get some free songs at the very beginning, none of them are very good. However, with online, this is a whole new story. With internet connection, you can download beat maps online. Now, I'd probably fall off this quite soon if I was playing it non-stop because, well, let's be honest, rhythm games probably can't hold your attention for the rest of your life. But I'd probably hop on this bandwagon every so often, especially with the rate I've been playing now. Now, next up, I obviously had to go with an online shooter, but there are so many of them, so choosing this was hard. So you know what? I chose 2. Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch. Now, these games are very different in gameplay and aesthetics, and it was very hard to choose which one was my favourite, but I think TF2 might be my favourite. I've put around 300 and something hours into this game, so you know I like it. Overwatch I've also put quite a lot of time into, and I do really like it, which is why I'm also putting it on this list. Even though I prefer TF2, I reckon if I get tired of one, then I'll probably just play the other, and then I'll get tired of the other, so then I'll play the other. Right now I'm on the Overwatch train, but pretty soon I'll get back on TF2 probably. I'm always either playing one or the other, so these 2 games are definitely a go-to for the Desert Island community. Although I'm kind of the only one there, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever. Next up is Minecraft. Again. I mean, hey, you can't really blame me for putting it on this list because, well, servers exist. And I'm already putting it in my no online list, and with servers on top of that, yeah, of course I have to put it on online as well. Now, I wanted to put a Nintendo game, but a lot of Nintendo games don't have amazing online options. I debated putting on Splatoon, but I've already put on 2 shooters, I don't really need 3. So I'm choosing Super Mario Maker 2, because the online in that game is really good. I already thought the online in the first Mario Maker was pretty good, but with Super Mario Maker 2, damn, this is some really good online here. And on top of that, I've got the whole single player, so yeah, I kind of have to put it on. Okay, now before I go on to the list of games which I would take if there were absolutely no rules, let's go over what consoles I would take. First of all, I'm going with the Wii. Now, the Wii at the time was definitely the ultimate Nintendo console. It was essentially compatible with every single generation of Nintendo games. I mean, we've got the NES Virtual Console, SNES, and N64 all on Virtual Console, and we've got immediate GameCube disc support, along with the Wii catalogue. The GameCube first-party library is one of my favourites, and the Wii is still really good if you ask me. Definitely an underrated library of games on the Wii. The Wii is probably the console that I put the most time into, and that is counting playing Wii games on the Wii U, but I guess that makes sense because it was one of the first consoles I ever played. I mean, I didn't really play a lot of GameCube back in the day, so pretty much all I had was the Wii, so it does make sense on why it would be that high. So yeah, the Wii is the first on the console list. Next up is the Switch. Now, the Switch doesn't have amazing backwards compatibility. I mean, sure, you've got the NES and the SNES library, and now the N64 and, oddly, Sega Mega Drive. But they're pretty small selections of games. But where the Switch really shines is its first-party Switch games, which, oh my god, this is probably one of the best first-party Nintendo libraries for a long time. This might even top the GameCube if you ask me. This is probably my favourite first-party offering on a Nintendo console. Next up is the PS5. Now, if you ask me, the PS5 has probably one of the best backwards compatibility systems in a very, very long time. I mean, with PlayStation Plus, you can get free downloads to loads and loads of games, mainly PS4 games, but a couple of PS3 games thrown in there. It has immediate backwards compatibility with PS4 discs. Of course, PS3 and PS2 and PS1 disc compatibility would be nice, but hey, this is a console, not Jesus. And the PS4 exclusive library is really, really good. And of course you got PS5 games on top of that, so PS5 has definitely got to be on the console list. Now let's talk handhelds. The GBA is definitely my favourite handheld system, specifically the GBA SP. I mean, it can play Game Boy games, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. The original Game Boy selection, if you ask me, is critically underrated. Game Boy Color isn't very good, and Game Boy Advance is pretty damn good. So with all three of these catalogs combined, this is a really good handheld. And one of the most important factors on this list is backwards compatibility, because I want to be able to play a lot of generations with only 5 consoles. So GBA. And the last console, which is also going to be a handheld, the 3DS. Now the 3DS can play 3DS games and also DS games and also download some virtual console games, albeit not a massive selection. And the DS library, I personally don't think is very good. I mean, yeah, you got your Marios, you got your Metroid Primes, and you got your Zeldas, but there's nothing too amazing here. But the 3DS library is really good. Not as good as some people might say. I mean, there was a big overload of 2D platformers which kind of blended in with each other. And yeah, the 3DS did have loads and loads of first-party Nintendo games. Third-party support wasn't so good, but first-party support was where it really shined. So, that was the console list. So, what games would I bring to the desert island if there were absolutely no rules on what games I could take? Number 1, Persona 5, same reasons I gave for the first list. It's just a really long and really fun RPG that I think I can get quite a lot of time out of. Number 2, Minecraft. It has a pretty damn good server list and also pretty damn long single player, which I could play, well, literally forever. Mario Odyssey, another single player campaign which could probably last me hours and hours on end and also could be able to be replayed quite a lot. Osu, a really fun rhythm game which I can download pretty much any song off the internet. And finally TF2, a wacky fun shooter game where I can just piss around and do what I want and try and find cool and funny glitches to make everyone's heads big. And that was my Desert Island gaming list. I know this video was pretty much completely ripped off of Scott the Waz's video, but whatever. Anyway, bye.